I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today. We're at Jenny Lake in the Grand Tetons in Wyoming. Very strange place to be. I actually can't believe I'm here. A few years ago, I never would have heard of the place. And I first learned about this when I was researching Saint Germain, reading the writings of Elizabeth Clare Prophet, a 20th century channeler of Saint Germain and a founder of one of the leading Saint Germain movements in the country. And in her writings, she mentions that the Ascended Master Saint Germain has a retreat. And at the time I was reading this, I was in the Himalayas in India, and she was talking about a retreat in America, which I was, really fascinated by, because I was from the U.S., but here I was in India, and I'm hearing there's actually a very spiritual place in America where I'm from, and I was kind of shocked. I was like, what do you mean, like America, spiritual places? You got to go to India or China or other places to find that. But she was talking about this retreat in the Grand Tetons, and there again, I was lost. I had never heard of the Grand Tetons, and I don't even know if I had met anybody who went to Wyoming, who'd even been to this state, because it really seems nothing happens here. The only thing I'd heard about Wyoming is I had a business partner who was thinking at one point of registering a business in Wyoming because it had good business rules. But as a place for people to go, I had never even met anybody who had been to Wyoming, at least that I knew about. Maybe I had been there, but they hadn't told me. So that's how I first heard about it. And when I was further researching Saint Germain and reading into the writings of Guy Ballard and the I Am Presence Church, he also mentions Grand Teton as a retreat of Saint Germain. And within that, I tried to research further, where that might be. And I heard about Table Mountain. I heard, which actually overlooks this range just from the other side. I heard about the Cave of Symbols within Table Mountain. Now, joining me, not in person, but he's been there kind of every step of the way, guiding this journey. Jeremy Tom is a expert channeler who specializes in the Ascended Masters and has a very close relationship with Saint Germain. And we've been in communication. He's been sharing what Saint Germain has been telling him on his end during this journey. And he has guided us to Jenny Lake, where we are now, which is actually very helpful for us because given this that's here and the difficulty of the ascent on Table Mountain. So Table Mountain, tables don't seem that tall or that hard to climb. So it might be easy to, get up the table in an hour or two, but it turns out Table Mountain's an 11,000 foot high mountain, and maybe it's not quite as high as these Grand Tetons, but it's still plenty high. So I was very happy when Jeremy that we could come here, which is a lake, and we were able to drive just about most of the way here, and then and then simply kind of hike down this ravine to the lake over here. Now, while I've been here, I heard a couple of interesting things from a tour guide who said that this is a glacially formed lake. So the Great Glacier may have come down that mountain pass over there and then deposited these rocks and debris on this side in what's geologically known as a formation called a moraine, and kind of sealed in this lake. So it's a glacially formed lake. And the other thing he mentioned that I thought was really interesting is that when when settlers arrived and they started wanting to climb up these Tetons, they thought they were the first people to do it. It's about 1879, and they set out. They get to the top, very arduous climb, plenty of gear, and they found there was something up there. There was a stone structure up at the top of the tallest Grand Teton peak, and it was actually a bed with stones encircling it, and they called it the enclosure. Now, they think that it could be 5,000 years old, potentially used by Native Americans during vision quests, and they were super excited that, you know, Native Americans, presumably with little gear, would be able to get up that high, and let alone actually stay there and potentially, you know, sleep on a bed up there in these kind of harsh conditions. And for reference, by the way, I did stay out here last night, and the temperature, you know, on the AccuWeather may have been going down to 27 degrees Fahrenheit, or, you know, or lower, and that's on the base. That's not even going up that Grand Teton. So on top of the Grand Teton, it must be a lot colder than that. So it's incredible that people have been able to go up there, not just now, but in history as well. So it's a fascinating spot, and we're next going to channel some energy from Saint Germain, from this area, from the Grand Tetons, Lake Jenny. We're going to send that through. So I'd like for all of you to find a relaxed position to sit down in. Let's chant Om 3 times together. Okay. Let's take in the energy. Let's see what Saint Germain has in store for us today. Call in all of your guides as well to assist. And I'm feeling him starting to come into the heart, and I'm going to start imagining the violet flame in the heart space. Start with a flame that's like a regular yellow flame, and I'm trying to shift that to a violet color in the chest. Some nice energy starting to percolate in there. As we do this, let this energy go through. I'm going to go down to the water over here and touch the water of Lake Jenny as we continue this transmission. This is a little bit iced over, but there's plenty of water around here we can dip into here. You can remain, you know, with your eyes closed for now. Go back later. Check out pictures of me getting into this water over here. Yeah, let's take a look here. As you may expect, it's nice and cold. It's pretty cool. I don't drink, but if I had a pack of beers, I could probably get them nice and cool in that water. So you can imagine that water flowing into your third eye, flowing into the heart space, carrying the codes of the Grand Tetons and of the grid, that perfectly aligned grid, as Jeremy has been enlightening us to about. And I believe that's actually new information that he's been able to pull down. I'm grateful for that. I'll let that come through and take a little more of that water. I'm going to touch it over my head a little bit. Over the other hand. Let that energy flow through. Let the blessings flow through, the divine light come through, the violet light. And all shades of light. Gold light, white light. And this is a etheric retreat of the White Brotherhood as well. And by white brotherhood, and we don't mean people of white skin color. White actually is a color you get when you combine all other colors together. So it's all versions of experience and all points of view perspectives come together and are mastered by this brotherhood of ascended masters. Take that in. Amen. And we'll evoke the I am presence as well. And I love when Jeremy says, I am that I am, but I think that encapsulates this moment perfectly. You can repeat that to yourself if you want. That's something that Saint Germain loves to say. I am that I am. And if you want, Jeremy, later, I'd love to hear more about, what that phrase means, how it came to be, and what we should think about and understand when we hear that. I am that I am. Because it's elegant in its simplicity, and it definitely feels good to say it. We're getting some nice warm afternoon sun coming down. It's probably the last warm rays of the day. We'll be going up for the night a little bit to the north in Yellowstone. But the energy here is just phenomenal. And I will say that since leaving California, and since leaving Mount Shasta, which is remarkable, but since Shasta, we have not encountered something like this. So this is an incredibly special spot over here. And the energy at Jenny Lake is even more incredible than it was last night, a little bit south in the Teton Range. So this is really quite a magical spot here. Feeling a lot come through the third eye right now. Continuing to feel work in the chest. With my eyes closed, I can feel that shimmer on the water when I open a little bit. Kind of shimmering afternoon light coming down and helping us clear what is no longer needed. So I want to thank you all for joining today in this remarkable location and continuing our journey to learn about Saint Germain.